Hello from my floor.
Beep, boop, ba-doop, ba-doo, ba-doop, boop.
I'm coming to you from the floor today because I have a giant box. I depression bought books at like 3 in the morning. I honestly don't remember what I bought. If you don't know what depression buying is, it's whenever you're miserable and sad and everything sucks and it's 3 in the morning and you're just like, everything is awful. So spending money you don't necessarily have on books you don't necessarily need seems like a grand idea. So I just basically went through like the bargain book section and just bought a bunch. Who knows what's in here? Charlie Glass's Slippers, a very modern fairy tale. What? I guess this is a fairy tale retelling about a woman who inherits her father's shoe business. Maybe. The Exile. Urban fantasy. There's fairies because it says a novel of the fae. I don't know what's in here. This is bad. Evelyn. One extraordinary Saxon noblewoman and her fearless Viking warrior find passion and danger in this dazzling and sensuous debut. I bought Viking smut. Cool. Ooh! Yeah, Glamorous Histories. And it's a series set in like Victorian England, 1800s England, where they have magic, so it's like a urban fantasy but like kind of historical fiction-ish, and each one is a romance, and my friend really likes them, so I was like, I want to read this series. Blood and Salt. Okay, so I actually know about this book. So the closest intersection to my house is 87th and Quivira, and this is set in a like creepy cult in Quivira, Kansas, and I had heard about, like, I saw this on like a book site and I was like, Quivira, Kansas, secret cult? What? So I googled it and I spent like all day reading like history websites and Wikipedia and local history articles about the fact that like there used to be some creepy ass cult in the middle of Kansas, and it's like searching for the fountain of youth and stuff, and it's weird. And anyways, this is like a horror novel that's like based around this, so I was like, I'm interested because I live on a street named after this cult. Persona. I feel like I heard really good things about this book. There's an assassination attempt and something about snakes. Daughter of Gods and Shadows. This description is really weird. Eden is a 24-year-old ancient god from Brooklyn, New York, but she doesn't know about the god part yet. What she does know is that she's currently living a paralyzed life. She can't escape the things that scare her because the things that scare her seem to be everywhere. For instance, the tall, thin man reading the Post across from her on the Staten Island ferry has a mouthful of razor-sharp teeth and eyes like an owl, and the woman standing at the bow of the ferry, wearing the Donna Karan dress and red bottom pumps, has the face of a cat. That's not even the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that when she looks at them, they look back as if they know her, and life is about to get stranger. An extremely powerful demon is gunning for her, a zombie-like pandemic is spreading across the country, creating creatures who are hungry for flesh. There is a mysterious handsome stranger, of course, with the powers of his own, who claims to have been her lover from a time and a life that Eden cannot remember. Blah blah blah. This sounds weird as fuck. Yappy Hour, and it has dogs. This is a cozy mystery about dogs at a bar. And then one day they show up and there's a dead body. Six Gun Snow White! I know exactly why I got this, because look at it. It's like a Western Snow White. That's all I need to know. That's it. And look how tiny it is. I could read this in like an hour. Woo! The Mad Scientist's Daughter. I think I just wanted to own a copy of this because I love this book so much. The Moon Tells Secrets. So this woman's 11-year-old kid can shift into animals, and she's like, this is stressful. And then there's a romance. Not with the kid. With someone else who also understands weird powers. Cool. Trust Me, I'm Lying. I just bought this because of the cover. How many books did I buy? This is thick. She's thick. Of Noble Family. Okay, so this is also from the Glamorous Histories, but One of these things is much bigger than the other. Does this one have like huge font or something? Oh yeah. Yeah. Wow, look at those margins. But do you see this? That is all margin. So they gave it these huge ass margins so that it would look like it's a giant book when really it's the same as this. Karen Roberts' Shiver. Now see, I would not have bought this if I was in a store because I hate books that have the author's face like huge on it. Like, I don't care who wrote it. Tell me a good story. So she is a repo man in a bad part of town and she drives a tow truck. Cool. I'm slightly embarrassed by how many books are in here. That is a really, I don't like this cover, like, at all. This is like, it gives me anxiety to like read that. Like, why is it so big? Why do you have to have words big everywhere? Like, shrink those down a bit. Love in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction. I know why I got this, because I like robots. So, a certain Booktuber over here, this was like one of the only 2 books that she DNF'd in 2017 or something, and I'm like, but it looks so good. It sounds so cool. And the cover is shiny. Look how shiny. But all the rage. This girl, I'm assuming this girl, lives in a small town. The sheriff's son, who's like, everyone loves him, abused her, and nobody believed her the first time that she came forward and was like, hey, this guy's abusive. But now, like, 2 other, like, one girl that he's been in contact with has gone missing, and then another girl is, like, being actively abused by him, and she has to, like, try again to stop him now that he's hurting other people and not just her. This sounds compelling as fuck. It sounds like it's going to shatter my tiny soul into a million tiny little pieces, but I think I want to read it anyway. Usually avoid books that are going to break my soul, because my soul is fragile. The Witches of Echo Park. So, this is urban fantasy, and it has witches in it, and, it looks like fun, and it's smallish, and I could probably read it quickly. So, you see this big old, me keep pulling things out of this box, and that there's, like, 30, I want to say, but they were all $1, so... Moth and Spark. Prince with a quest, a commoner with mysterious powers, and dragons who demand to be free at any cost. Yeah, okay. Whatcha? Mothership. Look at this cover. Okay, so it's a pregnant young girl in like a silver shirt, and she has like a space gun. It's very silly and weird looking. Because we vilify teen pregnancy so much, and I don't really have an opinion on whether or not we should be doing that, but there are not very many books about pregnant teenage girls where they get to have fun. It's usually like their pregnancy is this huge tragedy, demonizes them for having sex or not being safe or for their choices. I was intrigued by the idea of, you know, a girl who was pregnant and she got to have a funny, hilarious, weird story. Because when is the last time you ever read a book with a teenage girl who was pregnant and it wasn't just all about the horror and misery of the fact that she got pregnant? I can't think of any. Except those weird as fuck books that are like set in the future where like adults don't exist and that the only way to save the planet is for a lot of teenagers to fuck a lot so they can all get knocked up. Those books are weird and we should just delete that entire genre. Just out the door. Guess who's joining the cult? I got it. Let's do this. Tell the story to its end. Okay, this is a teeny weeny little book. So on the Book Outlet website, it described this as like there's this teenage boy and he's telling a story. There's like a monster who is going to like destroy him if he doesn't keep telling the story, but also if he reaches the end too quickly, like the monster's gonna destroy him when the story's over. It kind of reminds me of like 1001 Nights, but sort of like a horror version. Yeah, it sounded really fascinating. This is about an intersex person, and I don't think I've ever read a book with an intersex protagonist. It's been recommended to me like a million times, and I never read it, because I think I rented this from the library twice, and then I got distracted and read other books, and then had to go back. So now I own it, and I can't use that as an excuse anymore. Instead, I will just use the excuse that I have like 300,000 books, and I just bought like 60 more, so... So, I bought this because of the cover. Knights ride into battle on stegosauruses. Their heroes lead them on white thunder T-Rexes. Carol is one such hero. Once it said princess. Blah, blah, blah. Why is this about some dude? I thought I was going to be reading about a dinosaur princess, seeing as though it is called The Dinosaur Princess. There are, like, cool pictures of dinosaurs in it. Lots of them. It is unfair to name a book The Dinosaur Princess and not make it about a dinosaur princess. What else is in here? 3 more. So I bought this because, okay, so there's a Twitter post where someone found this, and this is the most extra book in the world, and I don't even want to read it. I just want to hold it in my hands and I just want people to come over to my house and have it out as like a discussion piece on my table. Like, I just want to hand it to people and be like, here, read the back. Are you ready for me to read the back? Are you ready? Once guilty of the deadly sin of gluttony, 1,000-year-old Viking vampire angel Snut Sigurdsson Nut? I'm gonna call him Cunt, because that's what his name looks like to me. Cunt Sigurdsson is now a lean, mean vampire devil fighting machine. His new side job? No biggie, just ridding the world of a threat called ISIS while keeping the evil Lucifyers, demon vampires, at bay. So when Chef Andrea Stewart hires him to rescue her sister from a cult recruiting terrorists at a Montana dude ranch, Vangel turns cowboy. Yeehaw! We're not done. The too tempting mortal insists on accompanying him, surprising Cunt with her bravery at every turn. But with terrorists stalking the ranch in demonoid form, Cunt teleports Andrea and himself out of danger, accidentally into the 10th century Norse lands. Suddenly, they have to find their way back to the future to save her family and the world, and to satisfy their insatiable attraction. If you took every romance trope and you put it in a blender and then poured the pulp into paper-shaped squares, it would be this book. All he's missing is a millionaire and a secret baby, and you have all of the romance tropes in one go. I'm so glad I own this. This is the best purchase I've made all year. 2 more, bear with me. Cassandra Rose Clark, Our Lady of the Ice. I have read 3 other books by her, and I adored every single one, and she's like one of my faves. And I haven't read this one, so clearly I need to read this one. I understand you, Cassandra Rose Clark. I know what you're doing. I get you. I appreciate your writing. It's okay. Last one. A Question of Honor. It's kind of a disappointing book to end on. World War I, India, murder mystery, romance. She's on a boat. Cool. That is it. So, this is what I've done. I now just want to read all of these instead of reading all of the other things that I wanted to do. So I will give you a tiny hint for April again. So my plan for April was to do this like elaborate project with the intention of reading books that I've owned for years and never gotten around to reading, to like get through that. But what if, I pushed those off even longer, and instead I read all of these delightful books. I never actually take my screen captures for the ones. Okay, they're all in one photo. I did it. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Okay. Oh no.